YouTube. Danny Staten here on the Danny Dan blog. I'm back with another comic book review. If you joined me last time, you saw me checking out some Marvel Zombies where they fought superheroes. And that got me thinking, I haven't did a superheroes nothing ever. I should do a superhero something. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't come up with nothing superhero-y enough to make me inspired. And this, Wacky Squirrel Comics, where Wacky Squirrel's doing the Superman thing, really didn't even inspire me at all. So you're not going to believe what I come up with.
Sometimes some crimes go slipping through the cracks, but these two gumshoes are picking up the slack. There's no case too big, no case too small. When you need help, just call Bandale. Rescue Ranger, Bandale. Danger. No, it never fails once they're involved. Somehow, whatever's wrong gets solved. Bandale. Rescue Ranger, Bandale. Danger. No, it never fails. They'll take the clues and find the where's and why's and who's. Bandale. Rescue Ranger, Bandale.
That's right, Danny Dan's a glutton for punishment. Danny Dan found Disney's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and I can almost bet this is going to be an episode of Copyright Theater, presented by Danny Dan. But at least I'm showing the good stuff for them copyrights. And today I'm checking out Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. It's a number 2 from 1990. Only got a little damage here at the top. That makes me very unhappy, but I think that's about the only damage on the whole comic book. But as Chance would say, that's enough to bring the value down a tad, wouldn't you say? And it's a number 2. We missed the first part of this exciting story where they were on an island in search of a ruby with a fat cat criminal. And now they're headed to town and bad things happen and Fat Cat and his cronies get kicked off the boat and the ship's running away. Well, I'll just show you. And they like to keep you up to date, so inside the front cover, you get a list of everything coming out this month. Well, a little short story about it, a little intro, a little review. They want to keep you up with all the latest comic books are coming out back in 1990. And as I stated before, there was a big catastrophe on an island. The criminal Fat Cat and his gang pitched overboard the ship, out of control, Rescue Rangers. And this is before they make Gadget, by the way. There's just the Fly and the guys on this one, Chip Dale and the Cheese Jack guy. What was his name? I'll remember. As the ship comes crashing down the highway. Out of control, and I'm starting to start with number 2. I could not find a number 1 of this comic book nowhere. I feel lucky I even got number 2. Right? The ship lays havoc and stops just before it squishes Worker Man Joe's face. That's right, in full panels, brought to you by Danny Dan blog, we jump right into the story, a shipwreck. A hero's disaster. At least the ship stopped, but we lost the ruby. What ruby? The ruby they were on the island after. Don't you just love the way they didn't recap nothing in this comic book in case you didn't get part 1? I think it was some of the scenes I showed you in the intro on that island, but I'm just guessing, right? Fat Cat and his 2 cronies are on a raft, paddling towards the city, making plans to try to figure out how to get the ruby back. I don't think the ruby's going to play a big part in this one. That's right. These dastardly things must get the ruby back. Back to their boss, right? Yeah, their boss. They have a boss. And their boss is this guy. He looks so familiar, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to call out who Big Boss looks like. As the Rescue Rangers are hot on the trail of the Fat Cat with ruby in mouth runs and jumps aboard the chopper and Chippendale won. I tried to tell these little bastards apart. They said, they get in the way! Oh, the excitement! And the excitement breaks away to a commercial. As smoke fills the room, I continue. Yeah, you get a commercial. A commercial for DuckTales. Hey, I've seen a couple of cartoon episodes of DuckTales. It wasn't great. I like the one with the bear better. You know, the big blue bear in the airplane? Jungle Tales? I don't know. Luckily, our heroes over here, Big Boss, tell his men by radio where to meet him at so they know where they're going. They just ain't got no way to get there. It's Big Boss and Fat Cat. Enjoy their win. They possess the ruby. Fat Cat don't want to go on the plane. Nervous about flying there, you fat cat. I think Fat Cat might be a little bit of a Garfield ripoff. What do you think? Let me apologize, guys, if I don't sound like my usual self. The Daily Dan isn't feeling great on this Tuesday morning. He really ain't. I had a little too much fun on Monday, I think. Rescue Rangers find an abandoned airplane graveyard. They search for something they can use to maybe construct a flying machine or get an old one running, but even the fat rat Montrose Jack here can't fix a plane this size as they hear something creeping in the darkness. It's at this point Monterey Jack gets to smell the cheese. Cheese, Monterey cheese. And then they're going to find out why they call him Monterey Jack. It's his mustache does the Dutch Mantell twist as he begins to head for the cheese uncontrollably. Chip and Dale try to stop him. He goes for the cheese. He grabs the cheese and takes a bite and instantly springs a trap that winds them both under the net as little robots roll around and strange things happening, and a knife flings out of nowhere and slices a rope. What? Slices a rope on the net? And the sweetest voice of an angel they ever heard says, "I'm sorry." Chip and Dale are somewhat mesmerized by the voice. The voice of Gadget. The sexiest, most beautiful little mouse cartoon character you ever saw in your life. You know, I remember watching this show with my kids and thinking to myself, wow, what a sexy little character they have here. Even Chip and Dale are like, yeah. Gadget has that effect, even on grown men and little boys. Turns out Monterey Jack brought these guys Chip and Dale to this old airplane graveyard for a reason. They're looking for Gadget's dad, the great creator, inventor, and professor. But he's gone. He's not coming back. If you know what I mean. Wonk, wonk, he'll be missed. Oh, the sad story rolls on. They explain their problem to the Gadget Girl, but the Gadget Girl says, guess what? I built a super airplane. We can use it to track down your bad guys in your Ruby. And just like that, in one page, Gadget's on the team. Gadget's is part of the Rescue Rangers. Boy, I love the way this comic book rolls around streets. And less than a page later, they reach the destination of where Fat Cat and the bad guy had rolled off to, or really near to it. And of course, the airplane crashed, and they no longer have their airplane. Wow, that plane didn't last long, did it? And because it's Disney, and they'll probably ding me for showing the covers of these comic books. But anyway, there you go. All the comics that come out back in 1990. From the wonderful company we call Disney, who wouldn't give me a copyright claim for a 1 minute and 6 second intro, would you, Disney? Would you? Oh, good God. Really? In full panels, brought to you by the Daily Dan blog. I don't get it. So, the Rescue Rangers are off to stop Boss Willie. The evil boss man, the Nimrod. They're out to stop him and his professor from, are you ready for this? Cutting giant blocks of glacial ice out of the ice caps and flying them to countries that don't have water so they'll have fresh water to drink. What a dastardly plan! Yes, we must stop him. He mustn't get this fresh water to these dying of thirst people in this desert company. As he flies away with the ice, snowballs get thrown at our heroes, knocking them from the ice floe. Thank goodness. Our heroes fall, 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 and land on the wings of whatever in the blue hat contraption that little gadget done put together. Actually, I think this is the pathetic flying machine featured in the show regularly, and now you know how it was built out of junk from a crashed airplane. It don't look nothing like the other plane it was built from, neither. It was like a Pepsi bottle with a balloon stuck to it. As they chase down the train that's speeding towards a secret destination in a subway somewhere. Under a city? What? That's right. Big Boss Man Willie and his little professor friend, they the evil geniuses as they roll on with their train. Chip and Dale try to recover the ruby while everyone is occupied, but they're caught and a melee ensues as Chip and Dale flee with the ruby. Get us to the police station, Gadget. The Detective Drake awaits. What? Detective Drake? Who's Detective Drake? Thank God for commercials to break the monotony of this irritating comic book I am trying to get through without throwing up all over the table. That's right, I'm doing Rescue Rangers today. I loved the cartoon, and I thought Gadget was one hot little mouse, I have to tell you. But this comic book really is kind of draggy, and you get commercials for the Donald Duck and the Uncle Scrooge, and that's horrible within itself. I guess now's a good time to take a minute. No, not that kind of minute, you dummy. Gives new meaning to the word good stuff this morning. Yeah. And be sure to check out Dave Sunstorm and his incredible brother Stephen Sunstorm, you know. The Good Stuff Brothers and our good friend Pat McCormick at the Golden Ranger TV right here on YouTube, and my partner in crime, Thrush Pondo Puns. You know Puns? He saved every one of us. He definitely saved me when we started doing our show. It gave me a reason to live. And be sure to check out BBB. That's right, our good friend at Brainbenders Banners, Chrissy, as well as my friend Corey at Corey's Comedy Channel. He sent me these really cool cards that I'm featuring in all my comic book videos. Word up to Corey's Comedy Channel, as well as a shout out to all my other cool friends on YouTube. BK on the Air, Big Guys 45, MJ Wrestling, the Matt Troy guy. Hey, Corey's Comedy Channel, my pluck is everywhere. The Nostalgic Pod Blast, my friend Chance, Retro Nerd Girl, AAP Homestead, we miss you, AAP for life right there, buddy. The Unapologetic Geek. And a special shout out to Gypsy Road Eric. We miss you, brother. Yeah, you try doing all this stuff in one take without editing and see how good a job you do, smart aleck. So apparently in the first comic book, Detective Drake was framed for stealing that ruby that was recovered by this guy. This guy wanted to get Detective Drake out of his way because Detective Drake was on his trail about a big impending crime. You see, you miss all this when you miss volume 1. It makes it a little hard to follow the story. Detective Drake's dog, we'll just call Goofus. I don't know, they don't tell this dog's name. I swear they don't, nowhere. I haven't seen it if it is in here. We'll just call him Dog Cop. Dog Cop, Detective Drake's dog, is chained up and can do nothing to help the rescue rangers. And see, I got this chain, but guess what? Gadget's a gadget. She says no problem. She's got a lighter, because a lighter will cut through a chain, right? It's a little blowtorch. I got one of them little blowtorches in the drawer over here. That damn thing won't cut through no chains. I bet you that right there, buddy. Anyway, Fat Cat and the Professor are having a good time. Fat Cat done reattained the ruby because Fat Cat is one sneaky demony little kitty right there. You can't mess with the Fat Cat. As the rescue rangers ride Dog Cop and tell a suspicious guy to a hideout somewhere that they bust through the wall. They bust through the wall into the middle of a subway tunnel? Yes, it's a subway tunnel. A subway tunnel to where? A subway tunnel to, you'll never believe it, yes, under the city. Not just under the city, mind you, but under the Treasury. The Global Reserve. That's right. The biggest treasury in the United States. Right there, buddy. And a subway happens to run almost right under it. And Detective Drake over here was on the case. He was getting too close when he was apprehended. When the ruby disappeared, they assumed he disappeared with it. They think he's the bad guy, but really he's the prisoner. And it looks like a giant dessert mole. Ha 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 ha. No, it's a laser cannon, and it will shoot a hole. It'll shoot a hole up to the reserve and drain all the gold. It'll go on a train. That train from earlier, it'll be riding. Oh my God, this is complicated for a kid's comic book. Hey, I got some of these comic books. They're still out to get him. 50 years later, you could have had Dick Tracy versus the Underworld, and you know what? Sometime this year, here on the Daily Damn blog, you may get another Dick Tracy versus the Underworld comic book. I got a lot of old Dick Tracy stuff. I've even got some from the 40s. I did one a couple of years ago. You could probably look that up if you want to see my Dick Tracy action comic review, blah, blah, blah. So once again, in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn blog, let's get to the action, and ain't much action going on. He busted that giant jello mole setting off the laser, blowing a hole under the reserve. Gold begins to fall and rain into the train cars preparing to speed away. Monterey Jack and the Rescue Rangers try to free stupid dog, which finds himself chained up again somehow by Fat Cat. That I guess we missed that part. Fat Cat runs over and tries to put the chop on Chip and Dale, but he didn't count on Monterey Jack. Monterey Jack gives him a spin, a spop, and a pop, and throws him at the wall. What? All that action had to have another commercial? Damn it. And then you get a big commercial for the Donald Duck Family Christmas. That's right. All the ducks together for $10 and a giant hardback edition of a comic book. Oh boy. I bet that $10 in 1990 money, it's like $100 now. When that strong rat throws that fat cat into that button on the wall, way back over here, he hit the self-destruct button. Do you believe it? Why anybody would put a self-destruct button on their device, I do not know, but it blows up. It causes a landfall. It causes a sinkhole. It causes Chip, Dale, and the crowd to go down. And once again, they're still worried about the ruby for some reason. That ruby must be important, even though all the gold in Fort Knox just got stolen. He's shooting off on the train with it, and the cops coming to investigate the falling in. A quick move by Dale unhitches the train cars with the gold and sends them shooting backwards as, once again, with her trusty torch, oh my God, little butane lighter cutting through that chain. I bet that might take a minute. Evil guy still speeding away with the ruby. He lost all his gold. He's upset. But Chip and Dale have a plan, and Dale, with a big nut on his head, jumps off the train and hits the track change. That sends the train speeding right towards, you guessed it, down the end of the line to a big crash right at the police station. Bad guy and evil cat go flying through the wall of the police station, landing on the detective's desk with a ruby in his hand. He says, I confess. Just like that, he give up the ghost, because he's sitting on the police desk with the evidence in his hand. Detective Drake will go free. Chip and Dale are heroes. Whatever will we do next? I guess it's over. I guess we have to go our separate ways. But luckily, a little girl has a problem. Hey, lads, I think this could be your next case. I should play the theme again, but I'm already risked a copyright claim once. So there you have it. The birth of Rescue Rangers. The second comic book ever of the Rescue Rangers series. I wish I had part one so I could see how it all begun in part one, but this is part two, and it's only the beginning. Yep. Oh boy. Okay, some little idiots actually wrote letters to Chip and Dale and Monterey Jack and Fat Cat. That's wow. Okay, that's horrible. And this come out at the popularity of the TV show, so you know you're going to get a commercial for the both TV series, DuckTales and Chip and Dale. On the back, at least they didn't waste it. Disney, what a wonderful product. Yeah, Disney, we love you. You did great on Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I actually watched that cartoon with my kids back in the day. It was tolerable and irritating with a really sexy little mouse character for the guys. It really worked. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let me know what you thought of Chip and Dale, and I'll be back with something different next time.